Hello, everyone, and good morning to you. Of course, I am Coach Steele, and you are here with Coach Steele's Finance Training. I want to welcome each and every person in on the channel as you come in today. We are live as usual. We are live on YouTube, of course, Coach Steele's Finance Training, and we're live on Facebook. So if you're tuning in on Facebook as well under my name, Simon Steele, welcome to everyone and happy to have you on today. And of course, usually with Coach Steele's Finance Training, we discuss financial literacy. We talk about money. We talk about how it moves, how to manage it, how to maintain it, what to do with it. And we explain the complicated things in a simple way so that everyone can understand, so there's no confusion. And I want to welcome each and every person as you come in on today. You already know the rules. As soon as you come in, I need you to talk to me. And of course, I do have a special guest on today, so I do want you to talk to us. So good morning to you. I see Mr. Tony Sherman is already in the room, and we are going to talk about so much today. And when we talk about financial literacy, we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about business ownership. And I do have a special guest in the room, as you see today, as you all are coming on in. So make sure you dive on in. And I'm going to introduce her in about a minute, but I want to make sure that as you come in, if you are one of my Facebook viewers, make sure you go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. If you don't, I will come find you. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you are a Facebook listener. And today I really want you all to engage, be interactive, and talk to us. And so also, last announcement before we go to the interview with my special guest on today. Last announcement. Remember, we're doing $50 giveaway. We're doing $10, $15, and $25 giveaway, ladies and gentlemen. And so if you want to win one of those potential 3 drawings, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And what I said, and anyone who's been listening, I said, once we get to 400 subscribers, we are going to do the $50 giveaway. Well, I looked at my YouTube channel last night and we are sitting right at 400, guys. And normally I would do the drawing. I have all the names and everything. I have all the names. And but I have a guest on today. So we're going to do the drawing next Saturday. We'll do that drawing. But make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and send me an email. When you send me that email, the email has to have at least one title to one of the videos on the YouTube channel. How do you send me the email? Well, look down below. It has my email address, coachsteelefinance@gmail.com. coachsteelefinance@gmail.com. Send me an email, and in that email, you have to put one of the titles of at least one of the videos on my YouTube channel and be a subscriber. Other than that, you can win some free money, easy money. But anyway, guys, drum roll, please. I don't have anyone do the drum roll. So I want you all to know today we have a special guest. I'm excited to have her on the platform. It is long overdue. I've been on her platform a few times. And of course, now she gets to come visit my house. And so I'm excited to have her over here at Coach Steele's Finance Training. And to give you just a little understanding how blessed we are today, I want you all to understand who she is. And so I'm going to read her bio, and I want you all to listen in as I read this bio. Let's see, here we go. All right. Of course, our special guest today is an author / pastor, Takara Nicole Harris. And Takara Harris, also known as Takara Nicole, is from Aberdeen, Maryland. Now living in Savannah, Georgia. She is a devoted mother of 2 talented children, Joy and Jayden, and has spent a lifetime in ministry, empowering others both in church and business settings. With over 20 years of experience in ministry, leadership, nonprofits, and the beauty industry and business management, Takara is known for her ability to inspire individuals to reach their full potential. She owns the Healthy Hair Studio, serves as director as Transform Now Coaching and Consulting, and is CEO of Restored Crown Hair Restoration Clinic. As leader of Life at the Well Ministries, she fosters a community focused on holistic wellness. Her qualifications include being a licensed master cosmetologist, triple certified, oh, hopefully I don't mess this up, trichiologist.
Psychologist.
Yep, that word. Certified life coach, healthcare instructor, and holistic practitioner. She also works with TRICARE and the VA, specializing in cranial prosthetics and scalp care. Takara's mission is to motivate people through purpose to pursue lifelong learning and achieve their goals, emphasizing that success comes from pushing beyond limits and bringing the ideas to life. Connect with Takara on social media for updates on special events and other things. Expert advice. Guys, we're going to talk about some of those other things she has coming up as well. But I just want you all to understand how blessed we are to have Takara with us on this morning. Takara, welcome to Coach Steele's Finance Training. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me, and I'm doing amazing. It is good to be here. You've been on, like you said, on my platform many a time, so I'm excited to be on today.
Okay, good, good. Of course, I did want to have you on to talk about your latest book that you have in stock for people to go buy, and it is Get This Baby Out of Me. And of course, my household, we have two because my wife and I wanted my own, and I did not want her to slow me down from learning about Get This Baby Out of Me. So she had hers, and I told her today I was going to have use hers. We both finished our books. But
That's
I told her
good.
I wanted to have hers here to sit as the prop, and the one that I have marked up and been all through up and down, I wanted to use that one for the interview today. But as you know, I believe the book, was it October? When did you come out with no, September.
September. Yep,
It was
September.
September. So
Yes,
you came out with the book in September, and I wanted to take a few months to just marinate and let it sit with me before I just immediately did an interview with you. I didn't want to do an interview where I didn't understand or comprehend, but I really had time to digest this book. And I've had plenty of time. And so now is just the perfect time to go over it. I see people jumping all in the room saying hello. And so we're excited to have each and every person here. So let's see. I want to get this party started by
okay.
you telling us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing right now in this season.
All right. So, hello, everyone. I am Takara Nicole, and I am, of course, a hairstylist. I am a trichologist. I specialize in hair loss. But transitioning now a little bit more into ministry, which is a good thing. I've been in ministry all my life, but definitely shifting into more of a leadership role in ministry nowadays. But I'm excited because this book, I feel like this book is something that can help everybody. And I was not supposed to finish this book until the end of the next year. I had kind of mapped the book out to say I'm going to be done the end of next year. And the Lord said, no, the book needed to be done by September. And so I literally put everything to the side and I started writing.
Mm, 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 mm. So you did. You started writing and you knocked this thing on out. So we know that you've written this book. Like, what are some of the other things that you currently do right now? I did mention Life at the Well. Can you tell us a
Yes.
little bit about Life at the Well?
Absolutely. So Life at the Well is a holistic ministry that I've started. One thing that God has always dealt with me is about your mind, your body, and your spirit. And so a lot of times we focus on the spiritual aspects of ourselves, but we don't also think about the mental and physical aspects as well. And so I'm a holistic practitioner. And so I help clients find holistic ways to treat things that may be going on inside of their body. And so that's kind of like where it kind of started. I was just like, we all need this. And so it's something that we can marry together as well as ministry. So we are just a community of believers that prioritize wellness in every area of our life. And so right now we're meeting online. We meet online Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. And I'm excited. January 2025, we will be launching and being in person. And so I'm excited about that as well. So like I said, I do hair, I do own a salon, I have 2 kids. So I'm a little all over the place. I do business coaching, I do life coaching.
Mhm.
So I have a couple things that I'm doing.
And another thing before, and you may have mentioned it, before I dive further into the book, you all just had Life at the Well just had the 1 year anniversary. Can you tell us how that anniversary and that celebration went for you?
It was amazing. Our 1 year celebration, Life at the Well Ministries. My children were baptized that day as well. And so it was just an amazing occasion. My family, they traveled from Baltimore, Aberdeen, Maryland to be in the room with us. And so it was just an amazing experience to have everybody in the room and just celebrating being well. We had a mental health therapist that was there with us, a psychotherapist that came and she spoke and she gave us words of wisdom. We had praise and worship. But it was just an awesome experience just to gather together. I really wanted to celebrate 1 year of consistency. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. That
My
in
goodness.
anything that you want to do, if you want to see success in your life, you're going to have to be consistent. And so for me, I wasn't going to do anything for Life at the Well at first. But I thought about it, I said, this is 1 year of being consistent with something. And so why not come together and celebrate?
It was amazing. I watched some of the videos, and the water was troubled that night.
It
I mean,
was
that day. The
it
water
was
was
trouble.
troubled that day.
It was trouble. I was doing a video last night, like a little recap video, and I was watching the videos myself, and I was like, it was so thick in there. It was something that I was grateful that I was able to do with my children, was to be able to baptize them. And one thing I will say is that one of the most important things as a leader that you can do is be able to lead in your home, right?
Mhm.
And I know a lot of times it's tough, like as single moms, and I'm transparent about this. I was married for 10 years. I talk about it in the book. I was married for 10 years.
Yes.
And so you don't think that you're going to get divorced, And so the reality is that I stepped into a new role that I did not know. And I'll just say it right now. And I've said it before is the hardest part about this journey, right, is that I opened my salon at
Mhm.
the same time as I was going through a divorce. And
Mm.
so I said, one of the hardest seasons of my life was one area was dying while I was giving birth to something else. And I know that there's so many of you guys on the line that have gone through different seasons of your life where you have amazing moments, but then there's something else in your life that could be dying or going through grief and those type of things. And so that's sometimes a difficult place to navigate. And so this book gives you the tools on how do you properly navigate the life and death aspects of
Mm.
vision.
This is so good. And so, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show a short clip, and that's going to intro us right into
Yeah.
this book and me diving in here asking questions. Guys, as I'm asking questions, feel free in the comment section to dive in here
Please.
and ask questions too. Takara has put all her business in this book.
I
So, if
did.
you want a good book and birthed out any goals, dreams, aspirations that you have in life, you need to go ahead and order this book. And of course, you can connect with her, but it is on Amazon as well. So you can go to Amazon and get this book. And if you just want to be nosy about
Right.
Takara and her life, get the book.
Right.
And I'll dive into it more. But let's go to this video. Let's see if I can share my screen and pull this up for you all.
Awesome.
And we'll go from there. Let's see. Nope, that didn't do it. Let's see. Okay, here we go.
Ooh. that was so good. That was good.
Let's see. I cut off towards the end of it, but
No, it was good. I think it played to the end.
yeah, it did. Okay, so guys, that is the commercial. This is what we're talking about today. I'm going to dive in here. So we're going head first.
Let's go.
Introduction. So as soon as I read the first paragraph, I almost threw the book. I almost just threw it because of you came in so hot. And thank you, Powell. Powell said that is awesome. What is it? Tara Joy?
I think so.
Okay. So introduction. I remember in 2011, around 8:30 p.m., the doctor came in my hospital room and told me it was time to push. It was my first baby, and since my husband was deployed, my sister was there with me, along with my mom and dad. The nurse said, when this next contraction comes, I need you to bear down and push. I responded, I can't do that. And she replied, yes, you can. If you want to meet your baby, you have to push. I almost threw the book right there. I was done. I didn't even need to read anymore. I had enough nuggets to last me for a whole month right there. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
In the creation of this baby, you did not do it by yourself. Nope. Even Mary didn't do it by herself. She had the Holy Spirit. She had God help her. You didn't do this by yourself, but when it came time to push, you had to push by yourself. That right there. Talk to me about that moment right there.
Listen, that moment was super intense. And you know, first of all, the anxiety leading up to the moment was intense because I'm like, I got to push this baby out. You know, like we think about like, you know, we're all excited, like, oh, I'm having a baby. You know, we're all excited about the baby, but we don't think about the delivery room. Right. And then we do it over and over again. My mom did it 5 times. How? I don't know. But we do it over and over again. But it's like we're excited. The baby is moving around and all the things. And this is my first baby. So I don't know what to expect. Again, my husband at the time, he's deployed. My sister's here. She's never had a baby before, but she's going to be in the room with me. And so I'm like nervous. And then, you know, of course, my parents, they come in the room. My dad, he's had 5 kids. So he act like, ain't nothing, you know, this is nothing for him. But the reality is that nobody could get this baby out but me. Nobody could push this baby out but me. This was something that, although you can have everybody in the room with you, they're there to coach you. But the reality is the actual execution of a thing is solely on you. So I don't care how many midwives, doctors, coaches you have in your life that are there that are going to push you. The reality is that when it gets down to it, you're going to have to bear down and push this baby out by yourself.
And that's one thing I learned from the book, Takara, was in early on, whether you're trying to start a business, I don't care if you're trying to create t-shirts, whatever it is, no matter what it is, just because people are in the creation phases with you, when they're in the early phases of helping you with designs or ideas or getting the LLC, you name it, whatever it is, if they fall off, if they can't be there because they're deployed, if they can't be there because maybe the friendship or business didn't work out, it doesn't mean you have to cancel that LLC. It doesn't mean you have to cancel that business idea or whatever aspirations or goal you have, whatever baby you're trying to birth. You can continue to push through, and you can still push out that baby that God has blessed you with, that you've been ordained and designed to create and push out for the kingdom of God, for ministry, for the marketplace, wherever it is that God has blessed your hands to be. You can still push it out even when the people who were there in the initial phase of the creation are gone.
But you know what? But many people abort their babies. Many people abort and miscarry because the people that they want to be in the room are not always able to be in the room. And so, how many times in the natural have
Mhm.
women gone and gotten abortions because the father said, I don't want to be a part of the process?
Mm.
And it's the same thing a lot of times in the spiritual. And what we're building is that someone can help you create a thing. And then when things get sticky, thick, they may think about it. They're like, oh, I don't have the capacity. They'll come to you and say, hey, this doesn't work for me anymore. And you still have to be able to birth out your vision, even when, come on, because the reality is that God gave it to you, He didn't give it to them anyway. And so,
Yeah.
because God gave it to you, He didn't give it to them. You cannot afford to abort what's inside of you, because there are people that decide they don't want to be along the process. What would that have looked like if I decided I didn't want to have a baby because he was going to be deployed?
Mm.
He got the papers that he was going to be deployed. 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. I already knew that I was going through this entire pregnancy by myself. I was going through this delivery by myself. And so
Yeah.
the reality is that who I wanted to be in the room wasn't going to be able to be in the room. And so I need to encourage somebody today that says, listen, I got
I
a vision.
agree.
I got something on my hands. God has given me something. There is something inside of my belly. I want to encourage you that no matter who decides they want to be in the room, no matter what comes up, what pops up, what happens, you can carry out this baby and birth out your vision.
You know, it's so interesting when you talk about real life having to give birth, and this book can translate over to like real life women who are giving birth. The impact of this book is not only going to help people birth out businesses, the impact of this book not only is going to help people birth out their goals, dreams, aspirations, losing weight, but do you know, have you even comprehended that the fact that this book actually very well may save a life of a
Wow.
child? What you just said of, hey, just because the man may not be there, because a man can just drop off a seed and disappear into the night. But just because he may not be there doesn't mean you have to abort. And so that is powerful. This book that you
Wow.
have is actually going to save lives of children. I don't even know if you understand the impact of what you just said. That was crazy. But I'm,
Wow.
I'm going to
That's
let it
awesome.
marinate and sit in the
Listen, to God be the
atmosphere.
glory. But it's so true. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and so another part of the book, it talked about, you said one of your biggest lessons was focusing on ensuring someone else's
Ooh.
baby. Purpose thrive while neglecting your own. And so basically you were talking about how you were always so busy trying to make sure, because you're a coach, and
Yeah.
as a coach you help people with business and other different parts of their lives birth out their dreams, goals, and aspirations. But now you're at a point to where you didn't need to coach, but you needed to focus on birthing out your baby so
Yeah.
that you could give birth. And it was like a role reverse. I put in my notes, I said being the midwife instead of allowing self to be midwifed.
Yeah. Ooh, that's
So,
good.
so tell me about that process, and even with writing the book and other things that you have. How do you handle now? Yes, I'm a coach. Yes, I'm here and gifted to help other people birth. But how have you learned to put the brakes on that so that you can focus on giving birth?
So if I'm honest, I'm still learning. That is something that I feel like is something that's ever changing, that you have to process, because life is always different. Life is always shifting. And so I don't know, I don't have the blueprint. I don't have the blueprint to to where I am right now. If I'm honest, I talk about this in the book, y'all. Uh when I was married, I knew what was happening. I had a book full of goals that
Mm-hmm.
when I got divorced, I threw in the trash, because
Yes.
all of those goals were based on what I was doing with my partner. And so those got thrown in the trash. And so, if I'm honest, when that happened, my life shifted, because everything that I thought was going to happen, I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I had my life literally planned out,
Mm.
from the open up my shop, what type of shop I wanted to have, where I wanted my shop to be located. I was gonna have two kids. I got a boy and a girl. I got all the things. And when I went through a divorce, my life shifted. Okay. And so I didn't know where I was going. And so when you talk about the balance of a thing, you're like, ooh, I'm still trying to navigate it because I don't have a blueprint. I don't know where I'm going. But what I will say is this is that I'm learning how
Mm-hmm.
to say no now. And it came from, can I be honest, y'all? It came from being hurt. It came from God smacking me on my hand. It came from the detour. It came from the rerouting. And I almost crashed. I was almost in a place, in a predicament where I was going down a road that God did not want me to go down. And so, because I did that, I lost a lot.
Mm.
Okay.
And
I suffered greatly for a decision that I made that I really wasn't totally supposed to make it. And so what I mean is that I was helping other people's babies thrive. I was so
mm,
focused on, being that coach. And they're like, I need you to
good.
coach me. And I'm traveling with this person. I'm traveling with that person. Now I'm making sure their businesses is doing what they need to do. And I'm making sure, your ministry is functioning the way it needs to function. Meanwhile, my businesses were dying. And
Mm,
so when the reality hit and God smacked my hand, I was like, I had to sit in it. And so now I'm able to think with a more level head. My response now is give me 48 hours. My response is not yes, because I used to be like, yes, I'll come. Oh, yes, what you need me to do? Oh, yes, I'm gonna show up. Oh, yes, what you need me? Oh, you want me to do that? Okay, cool. I got you. Want me to come? I'm gonna drive. I'll drive. Listen, y'all know I drive, right? So I'll drive 6 to 7 hours. You need me to show up for you? And I'm showing up for everybody else. And God was like, wait a minute. You need to show up for yourself. Can I tell y'all about a vision I had really quickly? I had a vision one morning, and in this vision, this is how the Lord deals with me. I was sleeping awake, right? And so in the vision, I was going to a restaurant, and when I get to the restaurant, I said, "Can I have a seat?" I said, "It's a party of 6 that are coming," and they said, "I can't seat you until your party gets here." And I was like, okay. I was like, but they're coming though. Can you just go ahead and seat me? And she was like, no, the rules are I can't seat you. And so I take a seat. I'm watching all these people in my dream. I'm watching them go take a seat. I'm watching them get seated. So I go back up to the front and I said, hey, I said, is it possible that I can just be seated? I know my people are on the way. And they said, do you know how far they are? I was like,
mm.
how far they are. And the Lord began to speak in my dream. He said, no, you don't know how far they are. They knew what time they were supposed to be here. They knew what time they were supposed to show up, and they're not here. The lady said, if you would take a table for one, I can seat you right now.
Mm-mm.
But if not, you're going to have to wait.
My
And the
goodness.
Lord began to deal with me in that moment of how many tables we miss out on because we're waiting on people. We're waiting on people to come. And so I'm neglecting myself. I'm not getting all that I need. I'm not being as successful as I can be because I was always waiting on other people. And so
And
we have to learn how to take care of. Go ahead.
yes, you're right. We have to learn how to take care of ourselves. I just wanted to read one of the from someone named Florida Evans. I don't know if it's from Good Times or not, but one of the announcements for from Florida Evans, one of the comments she said was, "You are an amazing black
Oh,
woman."
thank
See, we're
you.
giving you your flowers
I
today.
appreciate y'all.
We're giving you your flowers today. You
Thank
are an
you.
amazing black woman with so many accomplishments. Congratulations. And of course, we do have the bishop on with us as well. We have Pastor Christy Conyers with us from Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church.
Good
She said,
morning.
table for one.
That's
And
it.
it's so interesting because at the table you can eat. At the table you can digest. And so when we are so busy waiting on others, we can get malnutritious. We can get hungry. We can be starving. It's a part of your book where you talked about being dehydrated. We can get dehydrated because we're not going ahead and get to the table that was for us. So
Right.
anyway, he
And
prepared
let's be
a table for
honest. People know when they're supposed to be where they're supposed to be. If we make dinner reservations, everybody knows. And this is like with business, right? If you're inviting people on your journey and you're saying, listen, let's start this business, they know the part they're supposed to play. And so when they don't show up, we have to learn how to keep going. And sometimes we get stuck. Just like in the delivery room, we get stuck at who's not showing up and who's not in the room. And it's halting our process because you want certain people in the room. But I want to encourage you guys today to keep going in spite of who's in the room. Keep going in spite of who is at the table. Because if they wanted to be, hear me this morning, if they wanted to be at the table, they would have showed up on time.
Mm,
That's
I
all I'm
like
saying.
that. I like that right there.
Yeah.
And so, and we're going to dive back in. I got some more book questions. We are here live talking with the author, Pastor Takara Nicole, and we're talking about her book, Get This Baby Out of Me. Now, someone named Kenya Walters Carswell, she mentioned something about can't wait to see you in Dublin in March. What's
Yes.
happening in March? We just
In
want to know.
March, I know, right? We here now. March, she is having a brunch in Dublin. And so I'm going to be one of the speakers there in March. And I think we have the flyer. We'll put the flyer out sometime today so you guys can support if you guys want to purchase tickets and come with me. Those of you that are in the area, we can travel together. But yes, I'll be in Dublin speaking in March.
Okay, so you do speaking engagements too. Is that what you're
Oh my
saying?
God. I do. I do. I do. I'm actually going to be in Atlanta in 2 weeks, but it's already sold out, so I don't have any more seats left. But I'll be in Atlanta in
Sold
two
out.
weeks. So I'm excited. Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll dive into some more of that, but let me
Right,
get back
right.
into this book a little bit. Okay,
Okay.
you don't even know what you did with this thing. This is
It's
funny.
so listen, it's so much in it. I ain't gonna lie. I'll be reading it amazed, like, Lord, you really said this? Because it wasn't me, it was the Lord. He really
But you
said it.
don't even know what you did with the title, though.
Yeah. I got that
Okay,
in my sleep. This book was supposed to be named something totally different. And I literally woke up out of my sleep and heard "Get This Baby Out of Me." And I was like, what? Like, I designed the cover and everything. I was like, this is what I hear. Get this baby out of me. It was supposed to be something totally different. This is literally based off of my coaching. Like how
my
I coach,
God.
I tell people if you get the book, you need coaching, but I promise you, I leave every single thing in the book. If you follow the steps in the book, you're going to be able to birth out your vision, like whatever you want to do, literally, along with all of the things that the mistakes I've made, and to be able to guide you along the way.
You know what? Okay. Even with the title,
Yeah.
I want everybody to listen to what I'm saying. Pay close attention to her title. It says, "Get this," and what it's saying is, "Get this power."
Yeah.
Look at the, I don't know if we call it acronym of the last few words. Get this BOOM. Talk to me now.
Okay.
Get this boom.
Oh yeah.
Get this baby out of me. Get this BOOM. Get this boom. I'm telling y'all need to come get this. This
I'm
power.
telling you.
Y'all need to come get this boom. Even the title is powerful in itself. And so as we talk about get this baby out of me, one part I do want to hit on because I think people struggle here. You talk about foundation and what we have to know, how we know what we're building.
Yeah.
And finding that through prayer and meditation. And you just spoke on that a little bit. But you said in the quiet, still moments, you gain clarity and vision. People are busy, they have kids, family, businesses. How do you find those quiet, still moments?
I have to take them. I love the water. So I always tell people to go to where is the most peaceful for you. So the water is very peaceful for me. And so when I'm overwhelmed, even if I'm not getting in the water, I'll go by the beach. I'll go sit by some type of water. I'll sit in my car by the water. But that's like my still time. I also have a prayer room corner in my room. That's another place that I go to. Put that phone on do not disturb, and I just turn on some soaking music, some worship music. I like to do worship music that does not have words. Because sometimes words can kind of, even when I'm praying, I don't do a lot of wordy type songs and music.
Mhm.
Because sometimes you can get caught up in the words and you can't really hear. And so I like to, listen to music that doesn't have any words, but finding those still quiet moments, put the kids to bed, put the kids somewhere, take a day if it means going and sitting in a hotel for the day.
Mhm.
But that is extremely important because you can't hear with chaos. You can't hear with everybody talking. You can't hear, when you're trying to talk to everybody on the phone. He's trying to get everybody's opinion. You have to take a moment to detach yourself so that you can really hear what it is that God wants you to do without it being contaminated. Hear me. Sometimes people will discourage you from doing something because they're not graced for it. And so I remember there was a
Mm,
moment in time when people said, "Hey, you need to slow down. You can't tell me to slow down. You can't stop me to slow down because God didn't tell me to slow down. I have to do what He tells me to do." And so I've been graced to go how I go, and I always say this, that God gave me these babies. He's my baby daddy. He gonna take care of these babies. I always put it back on Him. It's His job. I don't know how the bill's gonna get paid. It's up to my baby daddy to help me figure
yeah.
out how this is going to all work out in somehow, some way. When people ask me, how do you do it all? I don't know. I don't know how I do it all. I honestly cannot tell you how I'm able to manage what I manage, but by the grace of God. And He graced me for it. And what happens is people that are not graced for your assignment, hear me,
Mm,
they will talk you out of your assignment. And so because they can't do it, they'll tell you you can't do it. I was just telling somebody this the other day. I was coaching them. I said, you got to be so careful about who you let in, because sometimes people will discourage you on doing something that they were not equipped for. I was
yeah.
equipped for this. And because I was equipped for it, not that it's easy, but I was equipped. Equipped doesn't mean that it comes easy. You can walk out on the field and have all the equipment, but it's the power that's inside of you that pushes you to be able to do what you do. And so it's not me. I'm equipped. Whew, I feel God. But it's the power that's inside of me that allows me to do what I do. And so be very, very careful as you guys are birthing out these babies, as God is dropping vision inside of you, that you only link up with people that have a greater understanding of what you
Yeah.
are carrying. Because if not, some of y'all have aborted and you're miscarrying assignments that God never told you to give up. But because you're listening to other people, you're allowing them to talk you out of promise. You're allowing them to talk you out of your purpose. And so be very careful about who you allow in your ear as you are working through it. And even as you're going through your ideas, sometimes it's easier to keep it to yourself until the fruition of a thing has happened.
You talked about that in the book too, and you used Joseph as an example of certain things that he told to his family. And so, one thing about this book, guys, when you do get it, you're going to notice, and you might not be able to see it in here up close, but it talks about first trimester. And so that's one of the things you'll notice is it goes as if you're giving birth, going through that birthing process, first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester. And in
Yeah.
the first trimester, one of the things, and you just touched on it, you talked about the mindset and how the mindset, getting your mind right, it improves productivity, it
Yeah.
improves focus, and it improves that mental health. And you just touched on why you get time alone, why you have music playing without the sounds, don't want that influence of the noise. And so when we talk about the mindset being being put in the right place, you also talk about, as a builder, if you become distracted, you risk making mistakes that could be detrimental to your project. I enjoyed that part of it
Yeah.
because we didn't want to have a shaky foundation. But the part I'm going to get to next is the breaking barriers chapter. This was interesting because when I first saw the word breaking barriers, when I saw that chapter, I thought you were talking about like breaking barriers of doing stuff outside the norm, like breaking a record, breaking barriers. And when I got to reading it, I was like, oh, hold on, wait a minute. This is this is different here. And you touched on this before, but you talked about, being married for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And you talked about this emotional moment of when you threw away your family goal book and
Yeah.
it felt like an overwhelming sense of failure. Can you talk to us about the mindset of breaking barriers in the way that you meant it?
Absolutely. So a lot of times we do think about barriers as external things, but a lot of times as it pertains to giving birth, it's really the internal things that are holding us up. And so the reality is that go through these different things in our mind about how we feel about giving birth and how we feel about reaching our goals and how we feel about success, right? Because everyone feels like success
Mm.
is all these different things, but in reality, success is whatever it means to you. And so that was a huge moment for me. I had this book and I'm like, these are all the things that we had made plans that we're going to accomplish and we're going to do. And so when I threw away that family goal book, I felt like failure.
Mm.
I said, now what? What do you want me to do now? I felt like everything that I had created, thought of, was now gone. And so now I didn't it was a moment of processing because I didn't know what was next for me. I did not know. And it's funny because everybody can know. It's funny to me because a lot of people always can plan out my life and they're like, I know you would be here and I know you would be in this place. And I'm like, nah. Even how I got my salon. I was looking for a salon, but I decided to stop looking for a salon at the time. And
Mm-hmm.
what happened was I stopped looking for the salon at the time. And so, because I had a mentor and she said, I don't want you to go into this in debt. She said, wait, save your money, build
Yes.
up. She said, save up so you can buy your equipment and then you can get your salon. I said, okay, cool. So at that time, I wasn't even looking. So I decided that I was going to go work in a suite. Let me tell you something. I go to work in a suite. This lady had this shop for only 4 months. She redid the entire shop from floors to mirrors to everything. I literally walked into a brand new shop. After 4 months, she decides, I'm going to sell it. So all the work that I thought, I'm telling y'all, this is why it's important for us to write the vision and make it plain because I'm going to write it out, but God is the one that's going to come through and do the work. I wrote my
Yeah.
salon out at the age of 18. I've been writing goal. This is what I've been doing. I ain't new to this goal setting execution. It's what I've been doing. I had written out these goals at the age of 18, what I planned on doing, what type of salon I wanted, colors, all the things. And so when the lady decides she gonna sell it, I'm like, a ready-made salon. So all the things I thought that I was
My
gonna have
good.
to do,
Another table.
another table,
Mm.
because I was willing to walk away from another table and seated me in that table. But that's why I said it was a tough moment because how beautiful it is for me to be like, oh, I got a salon. I said I was gonna have a salon by the age of 30. I thought that I wasn't gonna have the salon because what did I tell you? I said I was gonna wait. I signed my lease to that to the salon in May. I turned 30 in November. So I was right in that same year. By the time I turned 30, I was a salon owner. And so, like I said, it's one of those things where it was the beauty of a thing. Oh my God, it's beautiful. But I was also processing death at the same time. And we
Yeah.
talk about grief in the sense of people that are still alive, but nobody, but I do. I have the conversations about the grief that we have to go through when you have to grieve people that you still got to see. When you got to grieve people that you still got to co-parent with, when you got to grieve people and situations that you still have to see every day, it is a difficult thing. And so I'm like, I'm in the shop and I'm all these people and I'm ministering to people. I talk about that in my book. I'm ministering to this girl, and I'm like, girl, keep going. Don't give up on your marriage. Meanwhile, I'm going through a divorce and she don't know. And so this is why I tell people that you have to learn how to be in a healed place. You have to learn how to operate under the hand of God. I couldn't be in my flesh because if I
Yeah.
was in my flesh, I would have said, girl, leave that man. Because he doing stuff he ain't got no business. Nah, girl, that ain't where you want to be. But I had to remain in a place under submission unto God and allow him to talk through me because when you're hurting, you can say things that could be detrimental to other people's assignments. You can kill, hear me today. You can kill somebody else's baby because your baby didn't live.
Mm.
And so that's why it's so important that they say, "What hush until you heal." There was a story in the Bible where when Jesus sent the angel and he says, "Your wife is going to have a baby," and he laughed, and because he laughed, he became mute. Why? Because the Lord said, "Listen, I'm not going to allow you to contaminate what I said." And so, because I said what I said, and he said, and the Bible already said that life and death is in the power of the tongue. If he would have spoke, he had the ability to kill what was inside of her. So he said, let me mute you.
Mm.
And so this is why we're talking about your circle and people that are surrounding you, and making sure that you're in a healed place, and making sure that you have coaches and mentors and midwives. Because if not, you have the potential to kill somebody else's baby, but other people also have the potential to kill your baby.
In one of the comments, Tara Joy Powell says, I'm in labor. Get this baby out of me. 2025 is my year.
Yes.
The birth hurts, but the push is the reward. So, Tara Joy, if you don't have this book, you need to go to Amazon when we get done with this interview and definitely jump on there as well. We
Because
have.
the joy doesn't compare. Come on. It's Bible. I always say that once you get the baby out, it doesn't compare to what you're going to hold. But the Bible even tells us that we reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared to the glory that will be revealed in us. That's what the Bible says. So we know that the suffering, the pain, the hurt that you're feeling right now in this moment as you're carrying this baby, it does not compare to what you're going to experience once you give birth.
It's some beautiful comments in here. Kenya said, hush until you heal.
Yeah.
Don't
Hush
say
until you
nothing.
heal.
Tamika says, speak. Hush before contaminating others. Invest in your baby. And so let me dive here into some more of this book here. Let me get some more of this book.
Yeah.
Pastor Conyers wrote Romans 8 and 18. Like I got it memorized in my head, but that's okay. Now, one thing about this book I will say is you helped us men out.
I did.
There's a section, and I remember because I wrote a note in this chapter where it says developing and nurturing purpose. Men, if you're intimidated about this book and the title of this book, don't worry about it. She got us covered. It says the first trimester is really about the baby becoming embedded inside of you and your body adjusting to something growing inside of you. Men, if you haven't experienced being a father or being exposed to details of pregnancy, you're going to get all the ins and outs. And so she helps break things down for us men. So this book isn't just for women, it's for men as well. And I do like the fact that you were intentional about including men in the conversation so that we could get the revelation and understanding we needed as opposed to compared to how a woman would relate. So when did it click for you that you needed to make sure that it translates over to a male audience as well?
From the very beginning. So
Nice.
I am all about, I know there are some women that are on this energy of like, I don't need a man, power to the women, all the things. But I believe in the power of a man. Come on. I believe in the power of the man. And so from the very beginning, I wanted to make sure that men understood that they also too can give birth to purpose, that they also too take part, that there's also, I'll talk about in the beginning of the book about seed, right? And so the reality is that that we need each other too in order for this thing to work. And so a lot of times we're trying to like brush out the fact of like, what you don't need it. But I believe wholeheartedly in everything that I do. I try to make sure that I include men. I'm just not for women. I'm just not called to women. But I know that there are men that are attached to my voice. And so I'm very strategic about in everything that I do, that I make sure that men feel welcome. I make sure that men feel a part. I make sure that I have some type of man presence, a part of whatever it is that I'm doing. But I want men to know that you too, just because this is saying get this baby, I mean, it's about women and women giving birth, it doesn't mean that we can't do this without you. And so there's a part in a role that you play as well as it pertains to birthing and vision. Because listen, I love Miles Monroe, and he says if you give what did it say, if you give her a house, she'll make it a home. Right? And you give her a seed, she's gonna give you a baby. You know what I'm saying? And so there is something that there is an exchange there. And so because I make an exchange with my father is going to give me what I need. He's going to put it inside of me, and then I'm going to nurture it. But there's also the developing of a man, right? There's seed inside of you. And so don't you forget that there's something inside of you that also has to come out.
Okay. And also in the book, you talk about purpose planning. And one of the things that stepped on my toes early on in the book too, Guys, make sure you get your copy of Get This Baby Out of Me, Get This Boom. Make sure y'all get a copy of it. But it talks about, you know what? It didn't say, I don't think it used these words. I put it in my own words in my notes.
Okay.
When you talk about purposeful planning and purpose planning, so many of us have what I put, I think I called it recycled goals. We are
That's what's in the book.
recycling.
It's in the book. Recycle
Okay.
goals.
Yes,
It's
we are recycling goals and have recycled goals over and over because we are not doing what it takes to get it done. And you put an acronym in here called SMART. And what SMART, and I don't want to make you, explain the whole thing. I know I have to be cautious of your time, but can you explain to us in your own words what this acronym SMART means?
Absolutely. Okay. So listen, SMART goals is something, listen, y'all can, I literally write this in the book, like Google it, because you can find it. It's not something I came up with. But SMART goals is something I feel like that everybody should use, not just in your business, but in your everyday life. Because if not, we do have recycled goals. We have goals that we've been putting on our planner, on our, look at your vision board. That same goal been on the vision board for the last 5 years, and there has not been any steps towards it. So when we talk about SMART goals, I'll do this really quickly. The first one is it has to be very specific. Right. So it has to be very specific. What is the thing that you are trying to reach? Because if you don't know what is that specific thing you're trying to reach, you're going to be all over the place. So we have to be very specific about what is that goal that you are trying to obtain. It has to be the next one is measurable, right? It has to be something that you're able to track the progress along the way. So can I track the progress of what I'm doing? And so I give the example of I started my specific goal when I wanted to start my hair care line, right? And so I'm able to specifically track the progress. Like, have I got my labels? Have I got my website? My logo? Have I ordered my products? Have I got my packaging? And so I'm able to track the progress of all of those different things, right? Then it has to be something that's attainable, because you want to make sure that it's something that you can reach. Sometimes, and I'll say this, I'm not saying that it's out of the range, but you're like, I want to buy a house this year, right? But if you know you have not done the work on your credit, if you know you have not done the work on saving your money, I'm not saying that God can't come and supernaturally do things, but the reality is that sometimes we're trying to put stuff back on God, and God is saying you haven't done your part. So when you're looking at your goals, you got to make sure it's something that is realistic, something that you know that you can knock out within the next 6 months to a year, or whatever your time frame that you're giving yourself. All right. Relevant, right? Make sure that it's relevant. Sometimes we set goals that don't have nothing to do with where you're trying to go and what you want to do. Like somebody told me, like, you should go be a lash artist. Why? I don't want to do lashes. Why would that be a goal? But a lot of times we'll do things just because somebody else wants us to do it. Some of us grown up, and you're doing things because your mom wants you to be a doctor, your dad wants you to be a doctor, your grandma said you'll be good at this. Growing up, people say, I just, in the church, I just thought this is what you would be, right? And sometimes it's not even what you want. Go back and read the book. That's a barrier.
Yeah, that's in there as well.
I can't even go. I can't even begin to dive into that this morning about how many times we have set goals based off of other people and what other people want for our lives. And so just making sure that it is relevant to my purpose. And so because I'm trying to transition out of the salon, it doesn't make sense to keep trying to do things, spend money, take classes that are going to further push me in the salon, because I'm trying to get out. All right. And the last one is very time specific. And so you got to make sure that you give a time. I am an advocate. Listen, if you don't put a time to it, you're not going to do it. So let me tell y'all what I did. The Lord gave me a time. I didn't have my own time. He said this book had to be done by September 1st. It had to be out by September 1st of 2024. Okay. I kind of had an outline of the book, right? Like I said, I was tracking to be done in 2025. I started writing this book April of 2024. The copy had to be to the editor by July of 2024. I had to be so specific about writing this book. I'm going to tell y'all how I wrote this book. I wrote this book literally riding on the road. I was going back and forth to Maryland. I was traveling. I was driving 10 hours. And let me tell you what I did. I taught text this book. And I would get to where I was going and I would edit. I wrote this book in between clients. I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I would write for 2 hours, and I would go into my devotion, do all the things. I wrote this book, walking on my morning walks. I started writing this book. Well, continue writing this book. I was taught texting it, and I would go back and I would edit. I
Mm.
had a timeline of when this book had to be done. And so, unless you, some of y'all like, I want to do a book, I want to write a book. Okay, cool. It's fine that you want to do it, but give yourself a time limit so that you know, awesome, so that you know when it's going to be done. So you know when you're going to accomplish it. And this also keeps you from being distracted. So when I was writing, I wasn't going nowhere. I wasn't going nowhere. I wasn't doing nothing. I was literally staying up late at night, early in the morning. I can't scroll on Facebook. I didn't have time for none of that because this book had to be done and out. And so this helps you to eliminate distractions. This helps you to stay focused on the goal, right? Because I know that by uh March of 2025, this got to be done. Right now, I'm working on something. I can't release it right now, but I have to have it complete by March of 2025. So you know what I did? I went in my planner and I literally uh figured out how much time I have left to finish this program. Okay. And I literally broke it down by the day. And I said, this day I'm going to do unit 6, 7, and 8. This day I'm going to do unit boom, boom, boom. So there's no question about what I am intentionally working on, because by March of 2025, I have to be done. And so really when it comes down to reaching your goals, it's the intentionality of it.
And there are a few people in here, like, Leilani, she wrote a certain remark in here and talked about we need our purpose partners. You talk about the supportive circle and having that partnership with you, those people, accountability in the book. You talk about those different areas. So definitely, if you want to learn how to have that supportive circle, and it's interesting because there's a young lady named Asiria Daniels. While I was reading your book and talking about giving birth, one thing she's passionate about is the healthcare system and how women, especially minority women, the healthcare system in regards to giving birth and the deaths that can happen if you're not giving quality care and if you don't have the right circle around you during that birthing process. And she was going over with me the statistics of what can happen if things don't go right, if the medical process doesn't go well, the birthing plan, which you talk about in your book. And she talked about when she was going through that process and she was in the hospital, everyone around her knew the plan. Everyone around her knew, as a mother, this is what I desire. If something is to happen, these measures and steps are to be in place. Your book talks about that as well. Yeah. And so I was just telling her about your book and some of the other things I was going to go over in the second trimester and the third trimester you've touched on. So I'm not going to dive deep into it. And of course, I want to give everyone a chance to read the book instead of reading all of it to them.
Yes, but go guys, get your copy.
One of the things that you mentioned was accountability. And I'm currently a part of a group that you're meeting with right now on Sundays where we get accountability, and you'll describe it better than I can, but not just that group, but what you have coming up. You just announced on social media yesterday. Can you talk about what we do at that group and what you have coming up for other people that are looking for accountability, mentorship, and coaching?
Absolutely. And so accountability, I just literally said I was going to make a post about this, but I can say it right now and make a post later because y'all get to hear it right now. But I literally just said accountability is not control. And I'll be honest, as I was navigating through my divorce, this is going to help somebody. Okay. As I was going through my marriage, you go through different challenges. And a lot of times as you go through those challenges, because of sometimes how we've grown up, we think there's like a need of perfection, right? And so as I was navigating through my marriage, I suffered in silence. I didn't tell nobody. I just was like, yeah, nah, it's just me, and I was going through this. I felt like that process a lot of times by myself. And as I began to come out of that, the Lord began to deal with me about accountability. and allowing people to hold me accountable. But it wasn't just to my goals and my dreams, but also to my mental and my emotional state. And so accountability is important in every area of your life.
Yes.
And so I have accountability as business partners. I have accountability in ministry. Like, I'm not out here just, oh, let me just out here doing life at the well. No, I have people that can snatch me, grab me, pull me, but that will